Okay, second question in the mailbag. I'm blanking on who this is from, so apologies if I don't have the question, or if the name of the person that sent the question. But they asked which position group that has underperformed for the Mariners this year will bounce back.
So this is from, let me look in, Son of Kemosabe on YouTube.
Okay.
I think I pronounced that correctly. What position group is most likely to bounce back? I think you can boil this question down to, okay, so which positions severely underperformed this year? The list I have is center, right, first, and your entire infield.
Are you just about to list the whole roster?
I should have just said, well, you could pick 7 out of 9 in the starting lineup. They're the ones who underperformed. So it's center, right, and the entire Mariners infield, not counting Cal Raleigh. The realistic guys to bounce back who have anchored spots for next season, I think, are the 2 guys you can decide on here. Because we don't know who's going to be the full-time first baseman for the Mariners next year. We don't know who the full-time second baseman is, and we don't know who the full-time third baseman is. Therefore, it is hard to predict a bounce back. So the decision is between Julio Rodriguez and J.P. Crawford. And I picked Julio.
Okay. Tell me why.
So I chose why because he is going to be in a prime age next year. JP is going to be 30 as a shortstop. It's when guys start slowing down, especially when they start hitting in Seattle when they turn 30. Some of these guys fall off a cliff. And Julio's going to be just 24 next season. And I just have a hard time seeing Julio Rodriguez with a 691 OPS next year. If Julio's just going to get back to sort of his career norm of a close to 800 OPS, then that combined with a center field defense would be as valuable as the Mariners probably need Julio Rodriguez to be. Of course, we want him to be better than that. But in terms of what the Mariners need for a productive player in center field, 800 would be just fine. There's another interesting thing when I was trying to think about this for JP.
Wait, did you want to save that for a minute?
Oh, well, sorry. Well, I was going to say why I wasn't going to choose JP, but I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Well, so he's my pick.
Okay.
And he's my pick because how could he possibly have a year like this again next year? He's barely hitting 200. His OPS is 636. He's battled injuries all year. Shouldn't there be some bounce back for him in 2025? I'm not saying he's going to have the 130 WRC plus season again, but I still fully believe that a fully healthy season of J.P. Crawford, he can be a 110 to 115 WRC plus hitter. His OPS is in the 750s. He'll walk a lot, and you've seen his defense pick back up this year. So that may be his career year, what he did in 23. I don't see any reason why he can't be an above average bat that hits toward the top of the order if he is fully healthy in 2024. And that's not that unrealistic to say he's at like a 110 or so number come 2025, which is why I picked him at this spot. Because this is like, he's gone from a total career high to a total career low in terms of his production. I think there's some middle ground there.
So you would think that. And I think JP in general, based on his offensive approach, has a more sustainable idea of what he wants to do at the plate year over year outside of Julio, who it mostly depends on, as we've seen this year, how many pitches he gets to hit in the strike zone. And this year, people stopped throwing him pitches in the strike zone. He still swung, and look at the results. But did you know that JP's OPS this season is actually closer to his career OPS than his OPS last year was? AKA, it is more close to the median J.P. Crawford season than last year?
That doesn't totally shock me, but again, last year, the things he did and everything he changed about his approach and his, like, the fact he was hitting the ball harder, it just felt like such a step forward. I don't think that's totally lost. I don't think he just all of a sudden one day had that fall out of his back pocket and he can't get it back. Because 2023 felt like such a step forward for what J.P. Crawford does and who he is as a hitter. I don't think that's lost on him. I think the injuries had a big part of why he didn't play the way he did in 2024, and I think he can get back to some form of that.
Lost? No, but it does look like that number is a bigger outlier than this is an outlier bad season.
I guess we'll find out. I mean, I'm going to be honest. You're putting high praise or high expectations on Julio again in 2025. I'm going to be honest. maybe I'm a wet blanket for this and a Debbie Downer. What are my expectations for Julio in 2025? For what he's set, my expectations for him is he's going to be a 110 WRC plus hitter. That's what he has shown to be in the last 2 years of his career. And until he proves otherwise, that is what I'm going into 2025 believing about him. He is going to be a very slightly above league average bat who plays good defense and can steal some bases. In the last 2 seasons, outside of a ridiculous August in 2023, he has not given us any inkling of who he was in 2022. Like, there has been no prolonged stretch of superstar play at the plate. And look, this is going to be a tough and probably brutal offseason because we don't think they're going to spend very much money, which sucks because what would I do if you know, you were in that position? Like, I would go out and find superstar bats because in the last 2 years, the guy you thought was going to be your superstar bat can't be relied upon to be right now. Again, I think he's like a slightly above league average hitter right now.
So you're less confident in his ability to bounce back because a 110 WRC plus Julio combined with his defense is a 4.5 win player. Probably.
But what's he at right now? 102? That's not that much of a bounce back. I have more confidence in JP being a 110 WRC plus hitter next year than Julio being a 130 to 140. Like, again, this is my expectation of him.
It's kind of unfair.
Why is that unfair?
That's a sliding scale.
Well, but
JP only has to get to a 110.
Well, one's expected to be a lot greater than the other.
That's not wrong, but Julio's only crossed 140 once, and he's gone under 140 twice.
So again, say 130. I have more confidence in JP to be a 110 than I do for Julio to be at 130.
But a bounce back for Julio would be a 120. You wouldn't even need to make it to 130.
I still have my doubts.
We're not saying what would it take for who's going to win an MVP. We need him to bounce back. We need him to have an 800 OPS. That's what we need. That's a bounce back for Julio next year. Right?
And outside of 1 month in the last 2 seasons, has he proven that, like, has he given you enough confidence in the last 2 years to say he is going to do that?
No, he hasn't. But J.P. Crawford, you could say the same thing. He's been hurt, but Lyle, he was so good in just the second half last year. He had 3 good months really excellent months to finish last year. The first 3 months, it's pretty close to what he's doing right now.
Yeah, that's true. So it's a toss-up.
Like, we can marginalize and nitpick with both of these guys, I think. Yeah. Ultimately, I think the Mariners, based on all the positions I read off at the start of this, you know what they need? They need both of them to bounce back. That's what they need.
Yeah, they do. I just, like, again, obviously for 3 years in a row now, people have had sky-high expectations for what Julio could be in each respective season. And this is just where I stand for who he's going to be as a hitter in 2025. Like this is right now who I think he is as a player. He is a slightly above league average hitter. And if I go into the year believing that's what he's going to be, and he performs to that, then okay, that's what you expected. If he's better than that, great. Then he blew your expectations out of the water. But this is kind of the precedent he's set the last 2 seasons.